Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going over all of the important things that you want to know about Diablo 4 Season 3. So starting off, there's going to be a bunch of things in this video. I want to go over a bunch of stuff rapid fire really quick. So we basically are summarizing the entire blog post and giving you guys some information that's not actually in here. That's pretty important. So starting right off, everyone wants to know maybe when is the season starting? January 23rd at 10 a.m. is when the season's starting. There's going to be some leaderboards, but that won't be coming out till later. So the important thing you want to probably know is, well, what's the new sort of content here? So here's what it is. I did a reaction to the full thing that they showed off, which I'll link down below. It's like my most recent video. But basically, there's going to be these vaults. There's going to be some newer enemies. Are they actually going to be challenging? I don't know. The most important thing is that there's going to be these new pets where we basically have 2 different pet skills, and then we can have 6 support skills for our pet skill. So think of it like one of your active gem. If you've played Path of Exile, then you have 3 support gems. That's the biggest part of this update. On top of that, these areas are going to have a bunch of traps. If you get hit by these traps, you will lose basically potential to get better rewards. So there is kind of a risk and reward here, and they show off that you can actually sacrifice some of your stacks of these little pearls of warding for these Zoltan Cool stacks, and that will give you better rewards. So pretty much what that does mean is try not to get hit. So ideally, for a lot of the classes that will be a lot better in the season, you probably want something with lots of mobility, as well as potential to not get any damage taken. So think of it like Infinimus, or if you're playing the Sorceress, the Flame Shield would be probably an excellent choice. And there is going to be a brand new boss. I was kind of disappointed that they actually revealed the boss already, because they said that the boss doesn't even move. It stands still. However, it does have a bunch of traps, and there's going to be mechanics. It actually looks kind of cool, but I wish they didn't reveal that he doesn't actually get up and move, so he just stands still. So we'll have to wait and see how hard he is. There's going to be new uniques and new legendaries. We know of that, but there's none posted as of right now, with the exception of one brand new unique thing that's going to give you +4 to all skills. So it's basically a Holocron Crest as a new unique thing. So this is one of the newer areas here, and basically, yes, there's these pets and kind of summarizing everything here. So let me go ahead and explain this a little bit more in depth right now. So I'll move my face out of the way so you guys can actually see this a little bit better. So we have our skill. So we get to choose a skill for our pet. So there are tuning stones and governing stones. So you have one of your actual skills that the pet will actually use, and then you have 3 things to modify it, and I'll go ahead and explain that a little bit more. So basically, the pet has 2 different skills, and you modify each one of the skills with 3 support gems, literally just like Path of Exile. If you played that game, yeah, that's basically a support gem system. Now, important things and notes to go over. So the pet cannot actually die. This was actually from PC Gamer, and shoutouts to Rob because I got some info off of him. Put this post over here, and I'm going to show you guys some of the uniques over here that I had gotten from Rob, because he made a really nice Google Docs that goes over a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about in the video. But in addition to that, another thing that is important is, are the pet's damages actually going to be good? Because a lot of times you'll have an X chance on lucky hit to activate something, and it literally tickles the enemies at World Tier 4, right? And the Seneschal, this is basically the pet. The new pet is called the Seneschal Construct. It's going to be a companion, and this is only for season. By the way, this is not going to be in Eternal Realm. Last time we had Duriel, and that's in Eternal Realm as well. This is for season only. But the pet will actually scale with your stats. So your attack rating is its attack rating. Your crit is its crit. Now, the interesting thing, and the thing that I'm actually kind of wondering, does the pet's skills that it actually activates, does it count as a core skill? And does it count as your skill, so to speak? Because if it says, while the enemy is burning, it may not work with certain stats from yours. If you guys remember the Barber, there was this thing where you couldn't do damage if the enemy or your teammate actually already applied the X condition, right? So this could be something to consider as well, but it should be actually relatively strong, because this was something I had some concerns about, because it might actually not even be that strong if, the numbers didn't scale up. There's also a few pictures of the battle pass. So this looks like the battle pass, which, I'm gonna be honest, a little bit underwhelming compared to what was shown off. If you guys didn't know, this year is the year of the dragon for the Chinese Zodiac. This looks way cooler, man. Them showing this off in the blog post made me basically want to not buy the battle pass, because this is 1,000 times cooler than this. But I'm curious to know how you guys feel about this. Do you guys think this Haradrim spear looking skin is cooler, or do you guys think this is Oni demon thing with these tooths coming out of its mask? It just looks way cooler. There's no competition for that. I know we were supposed to just cover season 3, but that's part of it. They're gonna basically, they announced we're gonna have more awesome skins, and that's always welcome, but you have to pay for them. unless we could unlock them with using some sort of like in-game currency, then I don't know if I'll buy a bunch of them, but that skin does look pretty cool. Anyways, the most important things that we actually have to look at is the actual governing stones. Now, I do plan to make a dedicated video going over the best ones, going in depth on each one, but I wanted this video to be kind of like a generic that goes over basically what you want to know without getting into the nitty gritty, because a lot of these are only going to be available for certain classes to actually apply. So some of the effects over here, you have the Seneschal that can actually, it activates like a field and it shoots down enemy projectiles. Now, a lot of these good effects do not work against bosses. It'll say it does not work against bosses. And at that point, well, what's the point of having this thing that protects you from taking damage? Because it's stuff that's actually going to deal an insane amount of damage. Maybe like the Uber Lilith like blood waves, right? If this protected you from it, maybe people would consider running defensive stats. But as someone that has been on the leaderboards rank 1 multiple times, I'll tell you, Diablo is a mainly offensive game. People don't like to scale defenses in Diablo. Path of Exile is another story. But for the most part, people want the damage ones. So what are the good ones? Well, a lot of these will like just do some sort of ability. It may shoot a line, it might just explode multiple times, it might be a channeled, it might be a little spin attack that the little bot does. Now, there's a lot of information that we don't have with how the bot interacts, the cooldown on all these skills, so it's hard to speculate which ones will be the best, but I could say, as someone that's played Diablo competitively on the leaderboards, usually you want certain things, like, for example, cooldown reduction, utility. Those are going to be much stronger than just doing some small amount of damage. But there may be some glitches and bugs where certain things, like the VAULTS plus the combo points on Rogue, or there might be some crazy interactions that will do an insane amount of things. But it's just a different way to apply some sort of damage. Now, why it's important is because these can actually apply other effects that are important for your character's ability. Now, these don't modify, these are basically like the abilities. So think of these as all of the abilities. So they can protect you. One of them lets you like take some of the Sentinel like uses some sort of protective barrier that protects your portion of your maximum life or something like that, or it'll slash in front. It's just different ways to do damage. It doesn't really matter too much. Now, the one that I think has actually got the most potential is Tempest and Flash of Adrenaline. So how this works is Tempest makes it so it hits the enemy, and it makes it so it causes them, when you deal damage to themselves and additional enemies each second over time. If the enemy is killed, Tempest spreads to another enemy, gaining additional time and bonus damage. These bonuses are also applied if Tempest is reapplied onto the same enemy. So basically, you get to just apply just a bunch of damage, and if it kills it, it spreads it. So this could be actually one of the strongest ones. And there's also a Flash of Adrenaline, which makes it so it administers a quick flash of adrenaline to the player, granting bonus damage for a duration. If you played Barbarian, if you played any build that builds up a certain stack, so I'm thinking like Monk in Diablo 3, but in Diablo 4, if you played Whirlwind Hoda Barb, because you would charge up, you get all your swings guaranteed overpower, your big damage payload, bam, you pop your Flash of Adrenaline, and that lets you one-shot things. This could be pretty good. It all depends on the cooldown, so I'm not going to speculate and say which ones are the best right now, but I know a lot of people want to know which ones are the best, and I'll make a dedicated video going over which one I think are going to be the best, but I think Tempest and Flash are going to be one of the top tier contenders, at least via right now. And again, some of these will just do some sort of other forms of the same damage. Now, there's ones where it'll like increase the size. So basically, remember, you have your ability, and then you have your support gem that affects that ability. So these are the support gems. So you have the increased size, you have increased attack speed. These aren't your skills. These are the Sentinel skill, the little robots skills. And then you have this one over here. So I'm thinking the Tuning Stone abilities. Breaking support actually has a pretty good chance to be good for Sorceress because it has a chance to make enemies vulnerable. If you played Sorceress, well, you kind of either got to rely on Frozen Orb or you got to rely on your Frost Nova. So I think this one could be kind of good because remember, we're losing out on the vampiric powers. Those are not going core. I'm not sure what they're calling in Diablo, but in Path of Exile we call it going core, as in we would have those powers. Maybe in the middle of the season we're going to get those vampiric powers again, but for certain classes, it's hard to apply vulnerability, right? I think Sorceress is one of those classes that really lacks the ability to consistently apply it. So this one could be a pretty good support gem to consider running over here. And then as far as the other ones go, there's some where it like decreases the cooldown of whatever the skill is. Again, if you have Flash and Adrenaline, your CDR becomes really high. I don't know if you get all cooldown reduction, like with one of the things on Rogue, you can get it where it resets all of your cooldowns. I don't know if that resets the Sentinel cooldowns, but if so, this could be actually something to consider. Again, something that's unknown. Now, all of these like next few ones, like there's some where it gives you like some damage reduction, whatever. It's just small stuff, right? But the thing that is actually kind of big and that can actually open up the doors for newer things is basically applying some sort of elemental damage for you. This could be pretty big for, let's say, even Tal Rasha procs. Or it could be pretty big because if you play the Sorceress, the Fire Bolt enchantment may no longer need to be something that you have to run in every single build, because you can make it actually apply burning, and so the target, if it's burning, you get all the bonuses, right? So this could be pretty good, and this applies to all of the other classes. There's ones where, like, if it's affected by a crowd controlled effect, right? I think that's on Druid. There's a slow in here as well, but basically you can poison them, you can do shadow damage over time for Necromancer bonuses. So a bunch of other things. You're playing Barbarian, there's like a bleed. There's just like different forms of elements where you apply the bleed, you apply the poison, so you can take that damage reduction from enemies that are poisoned or bleeding. You get the gist, right? So a lot of these we don't have to actually go over, but some of these other ones over here are pretty cool, and I really wish that this just worked like Path of Exile on your skills. Like, I was thinking, like, wow, dude, this thing is actually insane. The piercing, oh, where is it? Where's the Seeks? Okay, so this was the Pierce. There's one that actually seems super, super good here, where it actually Seeks. Okay, this one seems insane, but remember, that's only on the Sentinel skills. Now, if you get a really fast cooldown and you have all these heat-seeking missiles, that'd be really cool. I was really hoping that this would work with, let's say, Frozen Orb, but remember, that's the Sentinel skill. If some of the Sentinel skills apply and are really, really powerful, this one actually has a lot of potential, because it automatically seeks enemies, and if it can hit multiple times, and you get to deal like some sort of ramp up bonus damage from each consecutive hit that you're dealing, this could be pretty good. That's at least what I'm looking at for this, and especially when you can make it so if they all do AoE damage, this could be pretty big as well, because you can make all of them apply the vulnerability, that whatever bonuses, and if it's heat seeking, that could be pretty good, because sometimes in AI, they had to rework some of the AI in Diablo 3 with a monk, because it just wasn't targeting the correct things. AI in general in any game, that's sometimes can be quite frustrating when they don't hit the correct target, or it just takes too long. There's like a really long cooldown. So I think this one could have some potential, but I'll talk a little bit more about the other ones. Now, there are two like super mega ultra super good ones called Evernight and Genesis. We actually know what one of them does. So this is Evernight. This is one of like the unique ones. I don't know how rare this is going to be. Maybe it's an uber unique rarity. But anyways, how it works, it says the supported skill grants you +4 to all skills when used for 2 seconds. Now, this one is a rank 1 out of 1. So this one can't rank up. But here's a look at basically all of things. And big shout outs to Rob for all of these that he was able to lay out here in this nice little thing. So you can see this the tuning stone over here, where it says 50% of the supported skills damage is applied as shadow damage. You can actually have damage conversion. This is like actually pretty cool. As shadow damage over 5.0 seconds. Enemies affected enemies who attack have an 11% chance to have their attacks interrupted. Does not interrupt bosses, which is normal. A lot of these things don't work with bosses that are super strong and OP. But you can see some of these numbers, when you rank them up, you're going to be able to make them stronger. So this would be pretty good. Maybe in group play at the hardest tier content, everyone's going to run like triple rank 10 best support, because it keeps on interrupting enemies. That's not a stun. That's pretty important, because eventually in this game, when you stun an enemy too many times, they become completely immune to everything. Now, another one that I thought was pretty good is this resource support. It says player gains 8 primary resource when the supporting skill first deals damage. If you scale resource gen, this could actually just like completely swap out to vault. But there's another one over here, and the cooldown actually seems quite long. This is one of the ones where it shoots down the enemy projectiles. Remember, it doesn't work against bosses, but it's got a 25-second cooldown. Now, obviously, if you rank it up, maybe that number can change, but who knows how good that thing is going to be towards the end game. Again, what's the stuff in Diablo? You want offensive stats, but it's just interesting to see, kind of what the numbers are looking like. And so far, we know what the Evernight one does. And there's another one called Genesis. So these are probably going to be the 2 most powerful ones in the entire game. And that's the main core point of showing off this, thing, is basically all the powers. Now, there are newer enemies here. I don't know what the enemies do. Are we going to face roll? They kind of look like spiders, and there's like this scorpion looking thing. I was really hoping this would be some sort of new vehicle that we can get in. It'd be cool if we had like some sort of tank basically in the game, if that makes any sense. Like, it's a vehicle you get in and you can like just absolutely destroy things for some sort of another layer of depth to Diablo, because I don't think we really have like vehicles in Diablo, but interesting to see in some parts, because there's going to be some sort of like a story, and we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But talks about the chest. I've already showed you guys kind of how it works. But at World Tier 3, the Nightmare Vaults unlock. These are basically going to be Nightmare Dungeons. I looked at the gameplay. It looks just like Nightmare Dungeons, but there's newer monsters, and you can obviously get some of the pearls and you can get upgrades and stuff like that. But there is going to be a gauntlet leaderboard, but this will not be available at the launch. So this is important for season 3. Now, some awesome things coming to the game that are big W. We have WASD movement coming. We have an extra stash tab, some other quality of life like trading gold on console, and then increased rates to summon the beast in ice. So that's going to be nice. And then they show off kind of the battle pass, and they mention some of the rewards over here. It's like whatever, it doesn't really matter too much. They show up the new amount that you're going to be able to unlock with battle pass. More likely be paid one. There's going to be another big update coming on the 18th over here. But yeah, that's basically all you need to know and how the sort of mechanic works. When you get to the Seneschal, you're going to get these things, you're going to upgrade them just like the vampiric powers, and most importantly, you're going to be able to get, like, let's say that vulnerability or whatever you may need for your build to apply the chill, the burn, the poison, the shadow damage over time. So yeah, that's kind of cool, and there might be some more ideas for theory crafting, and I'll let you guys know what the brand new legendaries and uniques are once they will drop all of those. But that's all the info that we have right now and everything that you need to know. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here and you want to see more stuff in the future with Diablo and more gaming stuff, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. And let me know any of your thoughts down below. But I'm thinking this season is actually looking pretty dang cool. Peace out, guys.